Welcome to the All Need Music Podcast. I'm Matt,
And I'm Jesse.
and fortunately, he decided to join us today. We were just talking right before we started that I was waiting on him like usual.
Yeah. It's light time right now here at Studio South. I don't know what it is up there.
It is snowing like crazy right now.
Is it?
Oh, it is just coming down.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's raining here, but
Yeah, no, it was supposed to start overnight and got up this morning and was like awesome. No snow to speak of, and then it decided to start. Then our power went out for probably an hour, and it was like, oh, that's how today's gonna go, huh? All right.
Sunday fun day.
Yeah, not so fun day.
I'm glad I'm out of this joint.
Right. Heading south for a little siesta.
Yep. We're going on leaving on vacation. I'm going down to Mexico to check out some mariachi bands that we might get on the podcast here soon. Doing a little scouting. Gonna go check out Crash My Playa, even though it already happened.
Yeah, you're a little late. And actually, by the time this airs, Jesse will be back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just got home last night from Mexico.
Just got home, nice and tan.
It doesn't look like it.
Look tanner than you, white boy.
All right. Well, we are doing an artist spotlight today.
Have we been recording this whole time?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Welcome to the All Need Music Podcast.
Yeah, you don't remember saying, and I'm Jesse? And the whole countdown thing?
Stuff kind of blends together these days.
Yeah. Day late and dollar short. Any rate, doing an artist spotlight today, but again, rocking merch. Jesse's rocking the Wade Jennings shirt, rocking the Jake Slay hat, supporting artists like we do and like you should too.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to do this one a little bit different. This dude I came across and heard this clip of a song and right away was just like, who is this and where has he been? And I'm going to throw this clip up here. Hopefully it works out. During the test, we had an issue, then got it to work. So we'll see again if that's going to work. I'm going to play this for you guys, and then we're going to talk about this guy. And I think you guys will probably be as blown away as I was when I first saw him and told Jesse, like, you got to check this dude out. So let's, without further ado,
couple kids working 3 damn jobs, ain't paying shit. No calling in, no college quits. A young soldier, the war is over. Made it home, but now they're fighting sober. Full of glory, full of grit. And this is for them broken, this is for them brave, this is for them work hard over time. People learn to pay, keep holding, honor that faith, keep rolling.
All right, so you guys get the gist of it. This is Don Lewis, and hey,
man, you could just play that over. Just keep looping.
Yeah,
we could do a whole podcast just looping that song, man.
Yeah, listening to it over and over. The dude has an incredible voice. You know, lyrically, just great lyrics. And he's
powerful lyrics.
Yeah, and he's a different kind of style of dude. So, you know, once I got that song on my radar, it was like, I gotta dig deeper and check this dude out. And Jesse and I started talking about him. It was like, yeah, we gotta spotlight this dude because really he should be on everybody's radar.
And that song's not even released yet. Is that my understanding?
Yeah. No, it's just been a couple of months since I seen that, and was like, oh, well, now I got to go do a nice deep dive.
Yeah, right. Because when you told me about them, I think it was about a month ago when you guys were down for that concert and you played them out in the man cave, and Carl was down here and
yeah,
we were listening to something else, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, check this guy out. And we're sitting there and like kind of doing that same thing. Just close the eyes and sit there and kind of like bounce.
You can feel it.
Like, wow, who is this? Like, what, like you said, where has he been? Like, we must have been living under a rock or something, because how did we not see this before? Because, he's got
a good following on TikTok, and he's got over 500,000 monthly Spotify listeners, so he's on some people's radar. We just missed the boat on him until late. They had to circle back to port to pick us up.
right
So digging into this dude, he's from Texas, grew up on a farm in Commerce, Texas, and
cattle country.
Kind of had a blend of music growing up. He talked about listening to George Strait being an influence,
Toby Keith
when he was younger, and his life kind of took a different path. He started off on this path to play football, and ended up
pretty good at football too.
Yeah. He played college ball, took a year off because he had a kid, went back to college ball, was invited to the NFL Combine. Like, you got to be pretty legit, to make it to that level football wise.
Just to thrive in Texas football by itself in high school, then to play in college and then get invited to the Combine and performing really well. Like, the dude's a stud.
Yeah, for sure. And so, that was, from all intents and purposes where, life was supposed to take him.
Right. Should have been in the pros.
Was never supposed to be, a singer-songwriter by any means. And like so many people in sports, injuries happen. And, we recently did another artist spotlight on a college football player that suffered an injury and is having a phenomenal music career right now as well, with Gavin Adcock. So I guess for us as fans who love music, some of these football injuries are a good thing.
Yeah. Who else?
Chase Rice played football as well. He had a crazy story. Chase Rice, went from college football to NASCAR pit crew, to I believe it was Survivor that he was on as well. And then moved to Nashville to write music and accidentally helped write Cruise, which kind of launched his career like a rocket.
Right. It's like, how talented can you really be? NFL, college, NASCAR pit crew, Survivor.
Why don't these guys share some of the talent with the rest of us?
Right. Well, it's kind of no different with Don Lewis here, thrived in high school football, scholarship athlete in college.
Yep.
NFL Combine, and life took him a different way, injury, and turned back to his second love in his life and his second kind of childhood dream. He said he either wanted to be a football player or he wanted to, sing music. And
and when he started doing music, he actually started with rap, and just felt like that wasn't really it for him. That wasn't his lane, I guess.
He wasn't writing about his life,
right. Yeah.
Gangsters and street hustles and stuff like that. He grew up on a cattle farm, pushing cows and playing football. So it's kind of hard to, rap about being in the streets and
right.
G's, 40s and hoes when you're cows,
your
horses,
country.
and pigskins.
Right.
Right.
And so, the nice thing about him though is, the depth of his music really. When I started digging in after hearing that song, it was like, man, this guy kind of goes all over the place. He's got a song, Watered Down Whiskey, which is to me about as traditional a country as you can get. And then it kind of just goes out from there. He's not real singular in that sense that he's going to just stay in that traditional lane. He does it, but he also, likes to put his own spin on things, and saw an interview with him, where he says, I like to think that I put the hips in country. And so when you listen to some of his other songs, you get kind of some of that soulful R&B, you get some blues, you even hear a little bit of funk, in some of them, which is really, really incredible.
Well, and then, I mean, just, his naturally kind of twangy, raspy, deep voice, that speaks to me. I love like the old honky tonk kind of country, real twangy, and he kind of has that natural going for him. That one song that he duetted with Sophia Scott, She's Trouble.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those that it's just like, now that's a damn country song right there. If I've ever heard one, I just love that when you can, especially, someone like him who started in rap and then can, really, highlight what country music is and what country music's about. So definitely
Absolutely
credit to him on that part. So
yeah, and the reality is that country music anymore has really branched out tremendously and welcomed artists from other genres, especially when they're authentic.
Right.
Not so much when they're not, and we've seen that in country music when people feel like somebody's not genuine and authentic, it's like, see you later. But if you've got somebody who's really like authentic and genuinely like feeling country music and enjoying it, the fans, whether or not the industry really wants it or not, I don't really care, because it's the fans that kind of make those decisions, right? The industry might try and steer things a certain way, but it's the fans that really will choose to embrace somebody or not. Like Post Malone, he came onto the country scene having done like 11 albums prior to that or something ridiculous, and nothing country, prior to stepping on the scene. Although when you look at old interviews of him, he talked about country music and, who I think an interview with him years ago, he said that his celebrity crush was Shania Twain. So, I mean, obviously he had a finger on the pulse of country music long before he showed up on the scene. And I think that helped for people to embrace him. But it brings that completely different style maybe than what people are used to with, hardliners like my dad that say, oh, there hasn't been any country music put out since the 90s. It's like, yeah, there has, Dad. And so like I had to play him some Zach Top, and he was like, well, who's that? And I'm like, that's somebody making country music since the 90s, right? Because you just said you liked it. So clearly it's happening. And Don Lewis is doing a lot of that traditional stuff, as well as blending in some of that kind of hip hoppy, R&B, soulful,
bluegrassy kind of,
a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And I mean, just like that, I think Jelly Roll's been like probably the biggest movement in country music as far as accepting, outsiders, since he was a rapper, country rapper kind of guy. But grew up in Nashville. We've seen interviews where he's been at CMA Fest in the background, what's up? Like, jumping into interviews. And kind of when he made the step into it, I think that kind of made it to where it was like, okay, we can accept people from other genres into country music if they're, if that's who they are as a person, is deep in their soul is country music. And just like Jelly Rolls talked about, Post Malone's talked about, like their major influences were country stars, just like, Don Lewis, said that, George Strait, Toby Keith, Al Green, like that's who he grew up, listening to and singing along with. And that's kind of who got him into it. So,
and I don't care if you're a country music fan or anything else, but Al Green, man, you put on some Al Green and ain't nobody mad at that selection at all.
Makes me just want to like crack a Coors Banquet and sit back with my boots up.
Makes me want to head to the bedroom.
Well, that too.
You go ahead and sit there with your feet up. That's fine. I got other things to do.
So I don't know if you can do this, Matt. He's the new technical wizard on this podcast here. Can you, on your little screen that you just brought up that clip, can you jump on to donlewismusic.com and pull it up? Because I got it pulled up here because, as we talked about before, supporting, artists on their way up and buying the merch and stuff like that. I was checking out some of his merch, and I'm definitely going to be ordering some of this because he's got 3 T-shirts on his merch site that I can't decide which one I want because they're all pretty badass. Yeah, so he's got his Liquor Talking, which that's one of like his most popular songs that's out right now as far as, Spotify. Yep. But then, It Feels Good to Be This Fucked Up. That's like one of the shirts that he wears a lot of times when I've seen like him perform, on videos. He wears that shirt. But then I just love that other one. It says 3 beers deep in a 2-step tune. It's just like, if that ain't country music, I don't know, what is, 3 beers deep in a 2-step. It just makes me think I'm in Texas, running with some cattle and hitting the saloon afterwards.
Yeah.
So as far as merch goes, this guy's definitely got some killer merch up there. So make sure you guys, if you follow along to this guy and you like his stuff, go on to it. It's donlewismusic.com. And you can check out, he's got some T-shirts on there. Looks like a sweatshirt too. So, and it says there's new merch coming available too. So,
and I've seen, in a couple of his lives that he's done, you can buy the merch on his lives, and support him that way as well. Which I've done with some artists in the past that I haven't had a chance to see in person yet, but again, still want to support them in their careers and a lot of times, and not so much for Don Lewis, right? He's got a record label now. He's actually on the same label as Shaboozey.
Okay. Empire.
And so, for guys and gals that aren't on a label yet, a lot of times their merch sales is where they get their money to go to the studio and record their music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they don't have anybody putting the money up for them, so they got to do it themselves.
Right. And we've talked about it before, obviously go on and like and follow these guys and, stream their music, but streaming, pennies, upon the stream. So that doesn't pay a ton until you get to the, billion streams, or whatever. But that's, like you were saying, a lot of these gigs that these artists do might be at a honky tonk somewhere, and it might be a couple $100 that they're getting. And that's just enough to get them from show to show for gas money and food and hotel.
Right.
So they really rely on that merch sales to, like you said, get them into the studio, get them recording, because that's not cheap. That's a lot of money.
Thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that's
for studio time.
That's what holds a lot of these, not as well-known artists back, is they might have, I think we talked with Drew Hale last season about how he's got songs upon songs upon songs that he wants to get out there and release, but just the studio time of getting into the studio costs lots of money, and you gotta penny pinch until you get there. So
yeah, no, and fortunately, for like Don Lewis to be on a label, you're going to be, it's a lot easier to get that studio time and get your stuff made. And then also in turn get it distributed, so more people can hear it, get it to country radio, which is still, even with all the streaming and internet options out there, country radio still, packs houses for guys when they're doing shows. So you get a little bit of an advantage there when you've got that label behind you to help get you out. But, at the same time, you got to be out here grinding on the social media side, because
Right.
so many of the younger people, that's where they're getting their music from. That's where they're collecting all their content. And, I was talking to Dan about this the other day. He's always been a big Frank Foster fan.
Frank fucking Foster.
And, he loves the fact that Frank Foster's independent. And I said, right. And I get that. Like, I totally see, both sides of it, the independent side versus the label side. I said, but think about this for a minute, Dan. 20 years ago, if you were looking for music, you would have never found Frank Foster, because you found him because of the internet and being able to stream.
Right.
That 20 years ago, how many artists went through what would have been their heyday that went unnoticed because they never got a record deal to be able to get on the radio.
Right. They never got radio play.
So, the internet's obviously a game changer in that sense, because I listen to a ton of artists that haven't been signed, that are just, some of them just starting out and just getting their toes wet, and they make great music. And you go to the old way that things were pre-internet, wouldn't have been an option, would have never had a clue who they were, would have never been able to enjoy their music.
Right. You might have strolled into a random bar sometime and seen somebody, grinding and playing, and that's where you might have heard them, and you might have bought a disc or a cassette tape back in your day.
Right. Could have got one of Jesse's 8 tracks.
Right. But that's the only way you would have heard them. You would have been hearing them on the radio, and that's what the record labels do, is get you on the radio. So, but this day and age, then independent artists can thrive. Because of social media and YouTube and that. But really glad that he did get on a label, because he definitely needs to be showcased. He needs to get out there. I was looking up on his website for tour dates, see where he's coming. I know he's from Texas. It looks like the only upcoming show that he does have is in Fort Worth, Texas, according to his webpage, and that's not until May 16th. So I'm sure Empire, they're loading him up for, this summer coming up. Hopefully expect to see him at a lot of festivals to really get him out there. And he definitely needs to be out there. So
100%.
I mean, that clip that Matt showed right at the beginning of the thing, if that didn't seal the deal for you, go on to Spotify, go on to TikTok, Apple Music, wherever you get your music, and definitely make sure you're checking him out, because you will not be disappointed. I guarantee.
Yeah. I mean, go listen to, some of the songs that, I felt like were good songs for people to go check out of his. One of them, you had even said, like, that's not even one of his most popular songs, that Watered Down Whiskey. And it was like, no. And for me, a lot of times that's the case, right? That it's not necessarily that top spot for their streams or for their watch videos or whatever. But Classic Again is another good one. Neon You, obviously, Jesse already talked about She's Trouble with Sophia Scott, is a great little duet. Bad Decisions, another great song. Those are all, in my humble opinion, songs of his that you should be checking out and really kind of get a feel for him, and then dig in deeper, because there's a lot of songs out there. Obviously his older stuff does lean, the older stuff is going to be rap, and so you can go check that out too. Right. But then like his newer country stuff, and I had seen an interview with him where he's able to have some more input into, the kind of music he wants to put out. Labels are starting to be more, I guess,
Forgiving.
accepting of that. Again, a lot of that I think comes from people like Jelly Roll, who said, "No, listen, I'm going to put out what I want to put out."
Right.
And so labels are kind of like, "All right, we're going to give some leeway here to do your own thing," and he does such a great job of blending that country roots that are clearly there with kind of that, like I said, bluesy sound, some of it's R&B sound, and you just really find yourself kind of grooving to it.
Right.
It's good music across the board. And so I'm excited for, songs of his going forward to see what he does, what other collabs he might do. Hopefully, he'll get some time at like CMA Fest to be able to be put in front of,
that'd be awesome.
hundreds of thousands of people to see his music and hear him perform. More so, I'm just hoping that we get to see him perform,
right?
Because
I'm
greedy
definitely
like that,
right? But yeah, I mean, and just like that, I mean, he sings songs like that. One that we played at the beginning, that it's one of those where you just kind of put your head down and you're just kind of grooving and jamming. Liquor Talking, I mean, that's a song that you can kind of dance to. And if you check out on his website or on his YouTube, he actually has videos of, official videos, Liquor Talking. And then that one with Sophia Scott, She's Trouble. So there's videos that you can go on there and kind of watch them too. So make sure you guys are checking those out as well. If you like them, subscribe to his YouTube channel and give him a thumbs up and interact.
And comment on his stuff and say, man, we found you from Y'all Need Music. Like, I wish I had somebody to comment to and say that that's who turned me on to him. I just kind of stumbled on him, and I'll take it. Right.
Yeah,
there's a lot of ways to find good music. And sometimes you stumble on somebody and you're just instantly like, where's this dude been? Or turns out, where have I been?
Right.
And just missed the boat, like I said. But go give him a view on TikTok. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. Obviously, you can listen to him on Spotify,
Music, Apple Music,
YouTube. The guy's running up on TikTok, over 500,000 followers on there as well. But putting out good stuff, and I'm excited to see where it goes in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like Matt was saying about, if you comment on his stuff and tell him that, if this is where you heard him first and you really like him, tell him that Y'all Need Music, send him over. Same thing with all of our followers and watchers. If you guys, find some artists that you're really into, you might have stumbled across them, feel free, shoot us a message. It doesn't matter what platform you're shooting it on. If you want to send us a clip, a TikTok, a reel, just a name, or a song that really hit home for you, send us a Spotify link or whatever, so we can take a listen to, because as much as we do listen to a lot of music and find a lot of new artists and stuff like that, I'm sure there's hundreds, if not thousands out there that we might not have heard of already and need to showcase them on a platform. So,
yeah. Well, and I just had one of our followers yesterday send me a song of a girl, Kelsey Hickman shit, I guess is the name. I listened to the song and I was like, damn, that's good. I've not had a chance to dig into her more, but that's another prime example of, people turning us on to artists that weren't on our radar. Want to get back to Don Lewis for a second, because there was a fun fact that I forgot to share. Don Lewis was actually invited to the BET Awards to perform country music. And that was the first time that the BET Awards had ever had a country music performance, was when he did it. So really cool to see that even the BET side of things is like, man, this dude's good. We need to give him a listen and check him out, and realize that, in reality, I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's ass. Country has been predominantly white over the years. There's definitely been black artists and ones that are incredibly talented. But it hasn't been dominated by black artists by any means. But to me, it was really cool that the BET Awards were like, we want to get on this train and check this dude out and hear some country music. And he was the first.
What's even better about that is that BET realized that Don Lewis, who is an up and comer, is more country than Cowboy Carter.
Right,
why they wouldn't have had their protege come on and sing her country song, or so-called country song, but they reached out to him, and he's the first ever to come on and sing country. That's even more badass right there.
yeah, it's cool dude. Great music. Make sure you guys check him out. I think that's going to be it for this episode. So we'll catch you guys next time on
Yelling Music Podcast.